Hello and welcome to Wednesday's Wellness Tip. I'm Julie Crane and thank you for joining me. So in this video, we're going to be going over part 3B, ready to get some Z's, sleep for success. So in the other part 3A, we talked about things to avoid in order to get better sleep. And in this one, we're going to go over the do's, things to do in order to get optimal sleep. So let's get started. The first most important thing, and I can't emphasize how important this is optimal hydration. Optimal hydration. Optimal hydration is so important in order to get optimal sleep and to get to the point of optimal health. Our bodies need hydrated. They need hydrated appropriately. 75% of Americans are living in a chronic state of dehydration. And many ills that we experience can be improved by improving our hydration. So I would really encourage you to watch my 6-part series on how to fix headache, brain fog, weight gain, insomnia, gut pain, and joint pain to learn the latest scientific information on how to really hydrate our bodies. The next thing that's so important is that we have good nutrition and exercise. Regular exercise helps improve your quality of sleep. It does this because exercise helps produce endorphins. But immediately after the endorphins are gone, the body fills the receptors with adenosine. Remember, we talked about that, with this. Use this as a sample in the last one. It fills them with adenosine, and so that can help the body sleep. So exercise is so important. Now, you want to be cautious that you don't exercise too close to bedtime because that can put you in a place of stimulation. And so you'll just have to kind of figure that out. How close can you exercise if you choose to do it in the evening and still be ready to go to sleep? Now, as far as nutrition, it's important to eat only fresh, raw food if you need a late night snack. Fresh, raw food is less taxing on the body and it helps you get better sleep. We want to avoid eating heavy meals, high sugar, or processed foods late in the evening or prior to bedtime. There's always been this debate about whether or not you gain more weight if you eat late in the evening. And we're not going to get into that, but what I can tell you is that when we do eat late in the evening, it forces the body to send blood down to your digestive system because it has all this food that it needs to metabolize. So what happens is, again, just kind of like when we take in alcohol late at night, is if we take in foods, especially these kinds of foods, late at night, then you're setting your body up to end up having a job to do during the night instead of getting into the place of rest and restorative sleep. So your body's spending the night metabolizing food and oftentimes without any hydration to help that. And so it's not in a state of rest and repair. And foods require high highdration to metabolize, particularly ones that are high in sugar, that are dense, high processed foods. These all require additional hydration. We talk about that in my 6-part series. And so the best thing that you can do if you need a snack is to the best thing to do is not eat when you get near bedtime, but if you do, make sure that it's a fresh, raw food. If you choose to take protein before bed, and some people do choose that, then it's really best to take some time type of a digestive enzyme to help that metabolize quicker. But again, you don't want to eat anything heavy, processed, or high sugar. So that's the best thing that you can do, is just avoid that. The next thing to do is make sure that you have a proper environment, and this includes a cool, dark room. So it's time to turn the temperature down just a little bit so that you have more of a cool room. And the best way is to have a window there in that room so that you can receive sunlight through the window in the morning. This helps create better sleep and wake cycles by being exposed to natural sunlight. Now, there are meditation and breathing techniques and music that can help assist you get to sleep. I'm right now going to not go in deep with those things. You can find them on YouTube and other places and learn more about them. Maybe in the future I'll do one on it. But you can look for things like meditation for sleep, certain breathing techniques that can help you get to sleep, or music. Now, another thing though, I do want to share with you that having a consistent wake up time is so important. And what I would recommend for you to consider is not to have a wake up alarm, but instead trade that in for a go to sleep alarm. So studies have shown that if you consistently go to bed at the same time, you will awaken at the same time. And it is much healthier to awaken on your own rather than with an alarm. Excuse me while I just have a drink. It's a lot to keep talking. My mouth gets dry. So again, if you start to set your go to bed alarm and get to bed at a consistent time, your body will naturally wake up at a consistent time and do it without an alarm. So that would be a goal to set, to try to see if you can work into that. Another thing to consider is developing an AM and a PM routine. Like when my children were small, we would do things to kind of prepare them for bedtime. So, after dinner or homework, then they would have their baths, and then they would brush their teeth and get on their pajamas, and then we would maybe read a couple of books, and then have a drink of water and say their prayers and go to bed. And so there was this consistent routine each night, and that would help prepare them for sleep. So it's the same thing that we can do as an adult, is start to create a PM routine where you're doing those things that help your body recognize that it's time to go to sleep. And part of that can be what we talked about in the other part, is starting to dim the lights and settling down, and maybe meditation or reading a couple of pages of a book that you'll be able to put down, not one that's going to capture your attention and keep you going. And, whatever works for you that you can set as a routine. It's also nice to do this as an AM routine. When you wake up, what things are you going to do to help, stimulate your body to get ready for the day? So something to think about. Now, did you know that there are foods that can actually help you sleep? There are. So let's kind of go over some foods that help with sleep. And one of those is kiwi fruit. Yeah. Kiwi fruit actually contains numerous vitamins and minerals, most notably vitamin C, vitamin E, potassium, and they also have antioxidant properties. So studies have shown that if you eat 2 kiwis 1 hour prior to bedtime, that you will fall asleep faster, you will sleep more, and you will have better quality sleep. Another food that can help you sleep is tart cherries. So studies have found that there are sleep benefits for people who drink tart cherry juice. So if you take in 2 8-ounce servings of tart cherry juice during the day, you will have more sleep time and you will have higher sleep efficacy. And these tart cherry juice also has above average concentrations of melatonin naturally in those products. The next food that can help you with sleep are nuts. So these are almonds, walnuts, pistachios, and cashews. All of these nuts contain melatonin and other essential minerals such as magnesium and zinc. And it's been found by studies that actually a combination of melatonin, magnesium, and zinc help older adults with insomnia. So nuts are a great combination. Let's talk just a little bit about melatonin. Melatonin is produced by the pineal gland. The pineal gland is a small gland in the brain, about in the center of the brain. It's just a small one. It's kind of shaped like a pine cone, thus its name, pineal. Or I've heard other people pronounce it pineal. I was always taught pineal, so that's what I'm going to refer to it as. So that pineal gland actually starts producing melatonin prior to the brain's preferred time to go to bed. Now, melatonin is needed for the circadian regulation of sleep. Melatonin helps with the adenosine in the body. Again, we talked about the receptors and how you produce the adenosine throughout the day. Adenosine is that neurotransmitter that helps with sleep. And low doses of melatonin can help regulate the body. It helps the body actually even get rid of some of those additional receptors that are created by the caffeine. So melatonin can really be good to help us there. Now, when we look at melatonin supplementation, we can see it kind of from three categories. There's the good, the bad, and the awesome. So the good is melatonin in low doses. Melatonin in low doses is shown to improve sleep. It stimulates the body's natural production of melatonin. So you want to use a dosage of around 0.5 to 2 milligrams to stay within that low dose category. Now, the bad is melatonin supplements in mid-ranges. This can make the body dependent on supplementation when you're taking more than 2 milligrams a day. So it can slow down the natural production of melatonin, and the body can become more dependent on the supplementation and stop making its own melatonin, which can also create imbalances in your testosterone and estrogen levels. So we want to avoid that at all costs because it can create some problems for us. But there is, the awesome part is the high dose melatonin. We're just going to kind of quickly go over this just because we're talking about melatonin. But high dose melatonin is not for sleep. Melatonin is actually one of the greatest therapeutic nutrients in the world. It's not talked about much and not nearly as much as it should, but it has many beneficial properties to it. It does not act like a low dose in regards to sleep. So high dose melatonin is not for sleep, but it actually works with the body's methylation pathways to help prevent disease. It helps the body heal from some of the most serious conditions that the body faces. It helps fight degenerative diseases. It can strengthen immune responses. It helps promote a healthier stress response. And it helps reduce the negative aspects of the aging process. So if any of those pique your interest and you want to look at using a high dose melatonin, I'd really recommend that you find a practitioner that is familiar with high dose melatonin, or it would be something that I would be happy to help you with. But I want to caution you that it's really super important that you make sure your melatonin supplement is high quality and from a reputable brand. This is not the time to just go and buy the cheapest thing off the counter. So I want to just share a little story with you. about a chemical called tryptophan. So tryptophan is actually an essential amino acid. It's found naturally in animal and plant proteins. Our bodies can't produce it, but we need it. And so we get it through our intake of animal and plant products. Now, it's found in a natural and a synthetic form, and it's often used as a mood stabilizer or an antidepressant or even sometimes a stop smoking medication. Now, what occurred was in the 1980s, contaminants in the tryptophan supplements were found, and it was found to be at blame for a disease outbreak that occurred. This outbreak affected more than 1,000 people, and it resulted in dozens of fatalities. So really a sad story. So why do I bring up the story about tryptophan? Well, there are structural similarities between tryptophan and melatonin. Research have found similarities between the contaminants that were found in tryptophan and what they're finding in melatonin supplements, suggesting that there is the potential for another accident just waiting to happen. And this is because it's easy to get contaminants in tryptophan, and it's also easy to get contaminants in melatonin supplements. Contaminants bind to melatonin and tryptophan very easily. So they have to be very, very careful when they're producing melatonin. So you want to make sure that you find a company that goes by very strict guidelines when producing and processing melatonin and L-tryptophan. So I want to introduce you to a couple of products from a company that I trust and use their products and have had really great success with their products. So the first one I'd like to talk about this one. This is the Sleep Gummies. This is a low-dose melatonin. It helps maintain a healthy circadian rhythm. It helps with insomnia. It improves sleep duration. And it actually helps you get to sleep. So I don't know if you can see this little gummy. You kind of have to figure out your own dosing. I take just a half of these, just a half of one of the gummies before I go to bed. So the dosing on these is low dose, but it's high potency. It also contains not a chemical, an herb, I guess, that is called Passiflora incarnata. Now, Passiflora incarnata enhances melatonin's ability to work and to be produced by the body. So studies have shown that Passiflora incarnata actually increases the body production of melatonin. And this melatonin also contains vitamin B6, so that's awesome. So again, you have to kind of figure out your own dose by trying it. Typically, it's between a half a gummy to 2 gummies. Now, it's one of those things, too, that you can have at your bedside. If you typically wake up during the night and have difficulty getting back to sleep, you can take a half a gummy, and it will help you get back to sleep. Now, the best way to get the most effective dose of this is what I'll do is I'll take, like I said, I take a half a gummy. So I will take that in my mouth and I kind of bite it into small pieces, and then I put it down below my tongue. So what this does is it helps me absorb it. With these, you don't want to just chew it a couple of times and swallow it, because then it just heads right down into your stomach and you won't get the effects. But if you keep it in your mouth or under your tongue, your mucous membranes will absorb that melatonin and you'll have better response. So anyway, great product. All whole foods. Now, the second product I'd like to introduce you to is called, well, it was called REM Sleep. They have relabeled it, and it's now called Optimal Calm. And they did that because it really was only focusing on this one great capacity that this particular product has. And now that they've renamed it with Calm, it helps people understand that it does more than just help with our REM sleep. So this contains specific herbs and nutrients that have been proven to keep the body in deep sleep longer. So it helps the body to build more ATP. If you remember, we talked about that in part 1. ATP is adenosine triphosphate, and that is what increases energy. This can also help reduce body fat, increase immunity, improve longevity. It gently and naturally supports deep, restful sleep. It calms the mind and the body. It's good for those that have ADHD, high anxiety, and it can also help with metabolism and weight control. So again, this will help keep you into REM sleep longer. The dose with this is 2 to 3 capsules. And just to list a few of the ingredients that it contains is passion flower, lemon bioflavonoid, hops extract, magnesium, and L-tryptophan. So again, with these 2 products, you have the gummies, which help get you to sleep, get you to fall asleep, and the REM sleep, or now the optimal calm, helps you stay in REM sleep longer. So if you're interested in either one of these products, I'm going to include the link below in the description. If you choose to order them, along with a discount code that will get you 10% off your first order. Then on the last thing that I would like to teach you that can help with sleep, it's called the pituitary pump. Now this was taught to me by Dr. Lloyd Nelson. Now to do this, if you have any kind of a dental appliance, especially on the upper part, you're going to want to remove that. So how you do this is on inhalation. So when you take a breath in, you're going to take your thumb and you're going to push up on the center of the roof of your mouth. Now if you feel a tender spot up there, that's a good place to push. Now, while you're pushing on that area on the center of your mouth, you're going to breathe in and you're going to pull your toes and your feet toward your head. Then on exhalation, when you breathe out, you're going to release the thumb from the roof of your mouth. You're going to breathe out and you're going to point your toes and feet downward or away from your head. So kind of think of it like the waves on a beach. When you breathe in, everything goes upward and you're creating that pressure on the top of your mouth. And when you breathe out, everything goes downward. Now you're going to want to repeat this for 2 minutes at night for better sleep. And then do it again in the morning for more energy. And this is also good for the adrenals. So again, inhale, thumb at the roof of your mouth, breathe in and bring your feet and toes toward your head. Breathe out, pointing your toes and feet downward, and release the pressure on the roof of your mouth. So I hope that you try some of these things, and I would really love to hear how any of these things, these tips that I've talked about, if you found them helpful or if they've helped you increase your sleep. Keep in mind that everything you do, you're going to do better on a good night's sleep. Imagine what life would look like by improving your sleep if you were able to have more energy, less body fat, higher immunity, increased health, more years of your life, and higher performance moments. Thank you so much for joining me. Next week, I'd love to have you join me. We're going to be talking about another cornerstone of good health, nutrients, both macro and micro. So hope to see you. Have a wonderful day. Bye.